You have to deal with crooked judges that are after you and crooked prosecutors. And the New York court system is vicious and totally biased and, frankly, totally crooked. Why would you put yourself through? I said, because we're going to make America great again. That's what we're going to do.
All right, well, former President Trump once again slamming the judge in his New York criminal case, calling him crooked, as you just heard there. His legal team, meanwhile, just asked Judge Juan Merchan to delay sentencing until after the presidential election. So our next guest says judges have wide discretion over these matters and asks if it was done in the Hunter Biden gun case, why should it not be done for the former president? Let's bring in Fox News legal editor Kerri Urbahn. So, Kerri, we have this from the filing from Trump's team. They write, setting aside naked election interference objectives, there is no valid countervailing reason for the court to keep the current sentencing date on the calendar. There is no basis for continuing to rush. You agree with that? Are they rushing?
Yeah, unless, of course, you're a political opponent of Donald Trump and want to be able to say that you're going to elect a quote-unquote convicted felon who's now been sentenced to prison, which I think a lot of people think that's why there has been this speed in which this case has been prosecuted and the conviction and all of that. And judges do. They have wide discretion as to when they set sentencing dates. We certainly saw that in the Hunter Biden gun case. The judge there, who incidentally was appointed by Donald Trump, recently made the announcement that his sentencing would be after the election. I think that's wise. It eliminates the ability for others to use the sentencing as a political tool in campaigns and even like language around it. And I think Judge Merchan would be wise to do the same. But as we've seen thus far, Jillian, it doesn't seem to me that he cares that much about the appearance of fairness. And that's concerning as a judge.
If he does go along with this proposal from the Trump camp, what would that look like? I'm just trying to game this. So he would not be sentenced at all through Election Day. Are they proposing like he could still be sentenced during the presidential transition, or they would then wait till after he served another term in office if he went?
My assumption is they would try to work out a date for after the election, and at that point, we'd be living in potentially a different world. But the way that this judge has operated, I don't know that he's going to agree with that. I think he would do himself a huge favor, and also just it would help to ease, I think, the political tensions in the climate by just waiting to do that, especially since he has the discretion to do so. But this is also a judge who donated to Stop Republicans group, donated to Joe Biden's campaign when he was sitting on the bench, when he had Trump cases percolating before him, which is really quite something for a judge to do when judges typically run away from that, not wanting to cast doubt on the credibility of their decisions. Merchan has not cared to do that.
Not wanting to raise questions. So Andy McCarthy, our great colleague, wrote this the other day, caught my eye. He said, prepare for Trump to be sentenced to prison on September 18. He says New York prosecution of Trump was politics, not justice. We have heard him say that before. That's why we call it lawfare. The prosecutors and judge are not concerned about whether convictions ultimately get thrown out on appeal. Haven't heard a lot of people say that, prepare for him to be sentenced and sent to prison on September 18th.
Yeah, I think I understand where Andy's coming from on this, just because, again, Andy and I sat together in that courtroom watching this trial play out day after day, and it was just stunning, really, what a travesty it was. And I think the thing that stuck out to me the most, and Andy and I talked about it that day as we were in between going on air and giving our commentary there, was just the idea that you could give a verdict sheet to a defendant, here being Donald Trump, and on that verdict sheet, there was no indication of the underlying crimes that he alleged to have committed. I mean, that's crazy. We live in America. You're supposed to know what you're convicted of. And the fact that you would have no idea. I looked at the sheet myself. And so this is...
If I remember listening to you guys correctly, it was like you just have to agree that one of several crimes was committed.
Right. You have to, in order to...
No consensus.
Yeah, that's right. In order to make those, what were originally misdemeanors, business record disputes, into felonies and to convert them, Trump would have had to have committed some other crimes. And what we learned, or what we did not learn, were what those other crimes he committed. And that's unbelievable, in terms of a free and fair justice system. That's not how this works. And so because of the way that Judge Merchan managed this case and what we saw day after day, I think that Andy has a pretty good point there, that we may in fact see him sentenced and wanting to enforce that sentence.
It will be an interesting transition period either way. Kerri, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.